I'd like to call to order the March 11th, 2021 meeting of the Delaware County Commissioners. Would you all please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am Barb Lewis, Commissioner. To my right is Commissioner Jeff Benton. And today we have our two clerks with us. You're doing the honors,
I am.
Sarah?
Yes.
And I can't forget our administrator, Mike Phone. Yeah, we can begin.
Resolution number 21-186, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held March 8th, 2021.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-186. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton is absent
Aye.
today.
Oh,
Mr. Benton? Resolution number 21-187, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants and batch number CMA PR 0310.
so moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-187. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-188, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application for 2021-2022 OTBS EMS training and equipment grant for the Emergency Medical Services Department.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fischel, Director of EMS, Delaware County EMS. This is last session when I was here talking about a grant from ODPS. That was us accepting the amount of money that we had received at that time. This is a new year. Every year we apply for the grant. So this is permission to submit the grant to the grant application, to be awarded the grant again this year, which will come towards the end of the year.
Okay, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-188. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Thank you.
Resolution number 21-189, in the matter of ranking the proposals submitted for the Delaware Fiber Extension Project.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Lewis with the IT Department. As you're probably aware, we recently had an RFP out for the fiber extension project to build fiber to miscellaneous county and other agencies' facilities. During that process, we received two proposals, one from Consolidated Electric Co-op and the second one from Thayer. And essentially what the resolution in front of you does is authorize us to rank those proposals and then begin negotiations. Those two proposals were submitted to an evaluation team that has determined that Consolidated came out as the highest ranked and Thayer is the second most advantageous. Any questions?
What's the timeline on this project?
So that's a good question. There's a lot of builds depending on what departments or the commissioners decide to move forward with which projects. Some of them are going to be a little more challenging than others to build. For instance, if there's a railroad crossing, we have to wait on permits. Sometimes that takes months, if not years. Some other builds are very easy, and I could see several of those builds being done easily in third quarter of this year.
Okay. How many buildings are we talking about, Steve?
It's
most of the EMS stations?
Yeah, a lot of EMS stations. We did, probably around 6 of those. We had some sanitary sewer buildings or pump stations to build to. There was a lot of builds in there that were bid simply for preservation parks. I have not had those discussions with preservation parks yet on whether they plan to execute any of those. And the reason is because we were still ranking the bids. So now that we've got that done, I'll get that information over to them. And obviously that would be a separate contract with the preservation parks. But all in all, I think we were right at that 19 or 20 mark on the number of locations.
Do you have a dollar figure at this point?
So the total from Consolidated came in at 1.8 million.
Okay.
And Thayer was at 5.1.
Oh my. Okay.
What will, just in practical terms, if you could explain in layman's terms what the extension would actually mean for people, like faster internet or what?
Yeah, so cost savings after the
Okay.
initial upfront capital cost. Because instead of having the resources at the sites for either redundant paths or connectivity, we have all that here if we have a link back to 10 Court Street where the data center is. So efficiency with the redundancy that we can offer, cost savings because some of these locations have their own internet connection, or perhaps in the preservation parks facilities, no connection whatsoever.
Okay.
So this gets them back to our location where we have tentacles, of course, with all of our different fiber connections that get us to all the different facilities that we operate out of. So
Okay.
the phones that we're currently using in our EMS station, many of them are running either over a leased internet connection or a wireless connection that doesn't have near the bandwidth. So some of the teleconferencing and that sort of thing that they would like to do, this would improve that greatly. So,
Oh, great, good. That's, wow.
Yeah.
That's-
I know
Yeah.
you've been working on this for a while, it's good to see it moving.
yeah, it's been a little time consuming.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I know you're also helping out some of the townships as far as their public meetings. Could you just explain a little bit about what you're doing there, Steve?
Yeah, so obviously when we started providing services to other public agencies, the idea was how can we save those taxpayers' dollars and those townships and entities. So we rolled out what we called shared services. So if we were doing it here at the county, we would offer it to the townships because we've already got the investment in the infrastructure and it really doesn't cost us a lot other than the time and the support from our technicians, which obviously we recoup. So I know a couple of the townships, or if not all, have requested upgrades to their
Okay.
streaming system,
Mhm.
similar to what you folks are using here in the Commissioner's office. And that is the same service that we would like to offer to them. And I know that we're making progress on Genoa Township specifically.
Right, yes.
And I believe we've already got this implemented in Orange, but don't quote me on that.
Oh,
Because I
good.
know you just made some improvements here in January. So it may not be quite the quality that this is, but
That's just it. Boy, the quality is so important.
Yeah.
And some of the township meetings are you just can't hear.
yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much. You've been busy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I
Anything
think we
else?
got a vote, don't we?
We do.
Vote on motion
You want
21-189. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Steve.
That brings us to administrative reports.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fromer, County Administrator. I just wanted to update you, we had a TID meeting yesterday, and the meeting went well, and the TID approved application for the state funding that's set aside for TIDs for the Home Road and Sawmill Parkway project that is going to be going to construction to help support the OSU Hospital and some of the development in that area. So, but all in all, a very productive meeting, and that was, we're very hopeful that project meets a lot of the requirements and will score and get the $500,000 funding that we got this past year for another project. So that's all I have.
Didn't you have another meeting
What's that?
yesterday afternoon?
I had 2 days ago,
Oh, okay.
a pre-hospital
okay,
care
2
board
days ago.
meeting.
Okay.
So,
That's
and it was really nice. The chiefs, the fire chiefs and our EMS chiefs have been meeting and working on a strategic plan, kind of doing a SWOT analysis. And I think the fruits of their labors have been gone very well and come up with some really good strategic planning. So I think they're going to refine that over the next couple meetings and bring something back to myself and you
Oh,
all.
great.
And I think with the goal of a presentation in a month or two about some of the goals and objectives over the next couple of years.
Gosh.
Chief Donahue from City of Delaware has kind of been the leader of that evaluation and analysis and does a great job. He's done a really good job, and just want to give him some some credit. I mean, everybody's participating, but he's kind of led the
Sure.
effort, so.
Boy, it's great to get all that expertise in one room and talking together. That's wonderful.
Yep.
Look forward to that. Commissioner Benton?
Let's see, I was gonna mention the TID, but Mike covered that. DKMM, we had our DKMM board
That's
meeting
right.
yesterday. Couple things, DKMM's doing well. They now have tire recycling available at the municipal level. So if a municipality in Delaware County is interested in a tire recycling program, DKMM can help. They also set up for this year's recycling drop-off schedule. In Delaware County, it's going to be June 5th from 9 to 1 at the fairgrounds. And that's for electronics recycling. All electronics except TVs are free. TVs will be $20 each. And the CCAO Land Bank Conference was yesterday. Interestingly, what I learned from that was that land banks aren't liable for environmental exposures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's,
I learned that yesterday, and that was one of our big issues from our previous land bank, couple of land bank meetings, has been how do we acquire properties that have environmental concerns?
Right.
Like Sunnyvee,
Oh
other
my
parcels
gosh.
that may have underground tanks and so on.
sure.
So we're verifying that before we move forward, but we were ready to get environmental review contractors on board to do that. But it looks like we may not have to do that, which would be great. Keeps things moving faster and obviously saves us money and liability. So, and then, again, there's some legislation being contemplated this year for land banks. We'll keep an eye on that and see where that goes. And then there's a lot of legislation at the federal level that would trickle down to the state in terms of the American Rescue Plan, potential reinstatement of earmarks, et cetera, et cetera. And just exactly what that means to the counties and local governments here, we aren't sure, but we're gonna keep monitoring that. There's a lot of things going on with big dollars involved and moving fast, so.
Yes, very fast.
Very fast. We are prioritizing our needs, particularly in roads, so that we can be ready should some money become available to work on, to help fund some of those projects. So we'll see. It's moving fast, and it potentially is big dollars, which is scary because it's a lot more debt.
That's
at the
right.
federal
That's
level,
right.
which
It really is scary.
It's not good.
Right.
But, so we'll see.
Right. You mentioned the other day, I think it's with the TID, with the nursing home there, what is, that's the land bank, I'm sorry.
Land bank, yeah.
Land bank, yeah, what is happening with that nursing home and the land bank?
That is the
Yes.
nursing home we were talking about. Bring it back up to the microphone, right, Jennifer?
Oh, here we go.
Sunnyview is the nursing home in Delaware that was abandoned 13, 14, 15 years ago and has sat empty since then. It has some environmental concerns, and it has already gone through the foreclosure process and sheriff's sale, no bidders. So that means now the next step in that process is to the county take possession of it lien-free, at which point the land bank can take possession and market it.
Okay,
So, but one of our concerns was an environmental review, but if we don't have environmental exposure, then that may not be, an issue for us and we can move faster. But anyway, it's moving along. We've got several other properties in the land bank that are close to being finished in the foreclosure process or finished, and will become the land bank property very soon, which means we can market it, sell it, get it back into the private sector hands, and put to productive use.
boy, that's great. And so many of these buildings have just, they've fallen into disrepair,
Oh,
but they're
yeah.
beautiful brick,
Yep.
the rest of
Sunnyvee
the
is
rest-
a perfect example.
Sunnyvee, yeah.
It just sat empty and just looks terrible and
Yes.
needs a lot of work. So, but it's a great location, and
Right.
the main building is beautiful with renovation.
Right,
So,
right.
and the neighborhood I know wants it fixed, so we're working on it. We're almost there.
Oh, well, that's great. Good, good. Thank you.
Mhm.
And let's see, the general public, I should say Delaware Public Health District meets tonight virtually at 7 p.m. I'll be on that meeting. And Commissioner Merrill may be on the meeting, and I represent the county at that meeting since I'm the VP. And Commissioner Merrill didn't know whether he would be able to be on the meeting, so I will represent the county at that. And that is all I have. Any executive session? We do, okay.
Resolution number 21-190, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second, discussion vote.
Vote on motion 21-190. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?